What's up, everybody? Welcome to Eternal Midnight. I'm Chad. I'm here with Santino.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
And I'm here with Erica.
Hey guys, hope you're all doing good.
Awesome. So, with the start of a new month comes a new franchise, and we're doing the Conjuring franchise. Now, normally with these, we do these movies normally in release order, but since Conjuring franchise has two smaller franchises within it and then a couple of spin-offs, we're going to kind of do it a little bit differently. We're going to do Conjuring 1 and 2 tonight. Next week, we're going to do the Annabelle trilogy, and the week after, we're going to do The Nun and La Llorona. So, kicking things off with the first Conjuring. Erica, let's start with you because this freaked you out. I was laughing so hard while you were watching this, and you were messaging us. Describe your experience.
Well, first of all, I made the mistake of watching this after I hadn't slept because I just couldn't sleep because I was nervous about watching it. So I was just like, okay, I'll watch it. It was like I don't know, I think it was 8 a.m. or something, and I was in a horrible mindset to watch this movie, and it was freaky as fuck. And I just we'll show you some of our we'll show some of our group chat messages, but I wanted to go and kill Santino and Chad for making me watch this. I'm pretty sure I said I hate you and fuck you
Multiple times.
Yes, multiple times into our chat. We have a little group chat for the three of us, and it was
lots of swearing, lots of screaming.
Me, not the movie. Well, there was screaming in the movie, but I did a lot of swearing. And it was really freaky. But it was a little boring at times, but I only really noticed that once I watched Conjuring 2. But with regards to 1, it was creepy. The acting was good. I really like Vera Farmiga. Is that how you say it? Farmiga?
Mm-hmm.
And Patrick Wilson as Lorraine and Ed Warren. They were both really great. The score is really good. The musician and composer is Joseph Bishara. He did 1 and 2, and same with the director, James Wan. And yeah, it was good. It was scary as hell. I didn't like the dying animals.
What, the dog?
Yeah, it was the first 10 minutes, there was a dead animal. I was like, oh no, there's a dead dog. And why did they use music boxes? Why? What is with horror movies and possessed music boxes?
Because
it's so frustrating.
Because music boxes already are inherently creepy music. You know what I mean? Where it's just that weird thing where it can only, because they're a tiny little music box, it can only play the same type of music. And between all of the movies that have them, I think they are just so effective the way they're used.
Still freaky as fuck.
That's kind of the point when it comes to a horror movie.
True that.
They don't exactly go for cutesy cuddly unless they plan on killing it or breaking it down and destroying it.
Yeah.
So we'll jump into the story more in a few minutes, but Santino, what was your first impression of the film? Since I think of the three of us, I was the only one. Yeah, of the three of us, I was the only one who got to see it in theaters.
Yeah, so the first Conjuring came out June 2013, if I believe, right? So I was only 12 years old, but everyone else in my batch was 13 years old. So everyone got to see it except me. And it was and I remember in school it was the biggest hype. The best movie everyone was talking about. Oh my god, have you seen Conjuring? It's the scariest shit ever. And I haven't seen it. It's I didn't know what people were talking about. I was I tried to sneak in. I tried to hey, can I?
Oh, bad boy. Santino tried to sneak into a movie, guys.
I tried to sneak in, and I was and they just didn't allow me. It was I almost did, and then I just ended up watching Man of Steel again instead. So yeah, better alternative. I just ended up watching Man of Steel again instead.
Oh,
so
hey, yeah. That's good trade-off.
Yeah.
No complaint there.
Yeah. So But when I finally got around to it, I was like, it was really scary. I didn't have nightmares, but I loved everything about it because horror movies, in my opinion, are like the hardest to make because you have to really create an ambience and a tone, and you have to scare the audience. That's the job. And a lot of horror movies, like lackluster ones, like really fail. But this one doesn't. Like you can tell James Wan, as in every other film he's done, puts his heart and soul into this film that he did. So I really love what he did with Conjuring. I really love the chemistry between Ed and Lorraine Warren. I think that's the driving force of the movie. It really is something that it's really loved. They really have the best chemistry, but I'll get into that later. So yeah.
I mean, that seems to be something that both of these movies, and hopefully the third one when it comes out, really seem to be based around is the aspect of family is strength. I mean, that seems to be like one of the main themes running through this and the second one very strongly, I think. And I mean, honestly, Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, if somebody had told me that they were not married to each other in real life, I would have thought they were. I mean, those two have like the perfect chemistry, I think, of an actual married couple where they've known each other long enough that they're just like both completely fine with each other. They're not doing the over the top lovey dovey with each other, but they're not at that point where they're like a marriage where they're annoyed with each other. They work together perfectly, professionally and as best friends, where they both put their complete trust in each other. So just perfect casting, spot on with both of them across the board, I think.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that.
So moving on to a little more of the story of Conjuring 1. And some of the scares that came with it. Well, again, we're going to jump back to you, Erica, with this one. What was your thoughts while you were watching it, and just like some of the things you were seeing? I mean, like, what was probably the thing that scared you the most? What scene freaked you out the most?
Well, one of the parts that freaked me out like crazy was I think it was when they were in the girls' room and then the lady jumped on them from like the top of the dresser or the wardrobe thing. I screamed. I'm not even kidding. I screamed out loud. Like on the roller coaster, holy shit, screamed. Like and then when Lorraine and Ed were by the water, and then Lorraine looked back and there's just like these feet hanging behind Ed, and I'm just like, oh my god, it was freaky as fuck.
What about the when she was on the basement stairs and the hands clapped and the lights went out?
Oh yeah, the whole basement thing. Oh,
Oh, not the end when the shit first started going down.
Oh yeah. When I saw an organ there, I was like, oh, this is gonna be creepy.
So for me, the scene that really got to me was when, well, the scene that Erica mentioned where the lady jumps on the girl, but another scene was where she was doing the laundry and the wind blows and you can see the ghost, like the formation of the ghost behind Lorraine.
Mm.
Remember that scene? Yeah. She's doing the laundry, and then like you don't know like there's apparently like a presence behind her, and then like the music, and then like and it floats up to the girl to the window and possesses the mom. It's like, okay, yeah, that's freak as hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you don't know, right? And like it's really the scene, the stuff in the background that's scary. You know, like the stuff like where it's you don't see it until it's actually shown to you. Like, oh my god, you know, like. Oh, and I guess, and of course, the iconic hide and clap. Like, unfortunately, that was spoiled for me in the trailers. But another thing that got to me was when the mom was possessed, and Patrick Wilson was like Bathsheba, and then she looked, and then she had Bathsheba's face.
Mm.
Yeah, that was the one I was like, oh my god, like she's really fully possessed.
So for me, my memories of this are, again, being the only one who saw this in theaters, I went in expecting like kind of more of a fun horror movie, if that makes sense. Like I'd already seen Insidious, which was not scary at all. And I was expecting something along those veins where it was just like this just fun, campy, kind of stupid horror film. And I wound up getting like freaked the fuck out. Because again, dark movie theater, I went on a Friday night. And it was, I mean, I had a blast. Don't get me wrong. I love being scared at movies. but it's like I am one of those people where if I watch a horror movie at night that genuinely freaks me out, I ain't sleeping that night. It's just not possible. Every little noise will keep me awake. And the house I live in creaks, it's loud, it makes noises all night long. So already it's just like I have to avoid horror movies like that when I'm at night when I'm trying to go to bed. So thankfully I wasn't living here when I saw that. But so it's like, yeah, I mean, you guys have already listed up some of the scariest points of the movie, and it's just, yeah, it's just like rewatching it the other day. That was the first time I'd rewatched it in a while, and while it doesn't scare me the same way it did the first time I saw it, I still could see the scares and like what it was. Because I think, Erica, I think I was watching it almost at the same time you were. I think I started it about half an hour after you did, so you were a little bit ahead of me. So I was kind of watching it with you. But I could like tell when you got to those points where you were freaking out in the chat. I was like, oh, I'm getting there. And when I got there, it's like, yeah, it did freak me out, but it was like it didn't scare me the same as the first time I saw it. Um, so some of the cast. I mean, like we said, we've already talked about Ed and Lorraine. What about the family? Anything big you guys want to have to say about any of them?
I mean, for one, the casting besides like Lorraine and Ed, there wasn't any that like significantly stood out. I think Lily Taylor did a good job as the mom, Carolyn, and same
Mhm.
with Joey King as the main daughter, I think. Um, and yeah, like I said, the casting was fine. Acting was good. But like you guys had said, Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson were amazing as Lorraine and Ed. They were really really great, and I think the casting, well, they did a good job with that. And the score was good, creepy, like it should be for these. I always felt like, as a composer, as a music writer, writing the score for like horror films is always like the most fun, you know?
Mhm.
And yeah, I always remembered that. It was really good. And
Yeah,
just
because when it comes to a horror score, it's like you have to find that fine line of creepy and tension filled without being like completely over the top and campy when it comes to music. Because like I almost compare this to you. You obviously haven't heard it, but like the main theme of Insidious is like so it's good. It's like a loud screeching violin, but it's so over the top that it like adds to like the fun that they're going for with those.
yeah,
Whereas the music in The Conjuring, it's so much like darker and atmospheric, and it just adds and builds those scenes. It's another reason why music is something same as like with the original Halloween. Take out the music and the score from the original Halloween, and the movie's not scary or tension or atmospheric at all. So music really is something that adds so much to horror films.
totally agree. And another thing with music and horror films is is you want to find someone who can compose it, who can be original. Because I find that with a lot of horror films, there can be like a lot of repetitive in a way. It's similar themes, so it's always you always want to find some originality and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, so like with regards to the music, of course I did like the music in it, especially the music box. The ending where it opens up and there's no one
Oh,
there. You can tell that there's like, oh my god, so like there's someone there, like, is it the witch? And like of course you don't see it. Oh yeah, and that scare with the music box where she uses the music box to look for the ghost. That was creepy as hell.
Mhm.
And then like the ghost was actually in front of her. Oh dude, like,
mm,
with regards to the music, music is very important when it comes to a horror movie because you have to set the tone. If you don't use the music properly, it's gonna end up being not scary, which is not. And the goal for every horror movie is to scare the audience. And if you don't do that, then it's not good. Conjuring is a movie that excels so well when it comes to music because sets the tone. It sets the ambiance. I prefer Conjuring 2's music, especially with the Hark the Herald Angels Sing.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
eerie.
Yeah, the but the Conjuring 1's music was great. And I really like the tone it set. It worked well with like the rickety old house they were in, and it was scary enough to be like, oh my god. And honestly, I want to talk a bit about the lore. I like the lore that they set up. Like this witch who had her land taken from her is coming back for revenge. So she's killing all the mothers, and then the mothers hang themselves. It's like that's insane.
Well, the mothers kill their kids and then they kill themselves.
Yeah, the mothers kill their kids and then they hang themselves. So like I like the lore they're going for, and it's amazing that James Wan was able to make this movie with a lot of passion and strength, and it's just well done.
Yeah, it is well done. It's also scary as fuck. Yeah,
So is this one are you ever going to watch this again?
No, I'm sorry, but no. You guys are making me watch these movies. They're scary. I'm not a huge fan of scary movies. I can enjoy the fact that it was good. You know, Conjuring 2 was a little better. I might watch that again, but Conjuring 1 is just too scary and too. It's just a little too realistic that I can't.
Yeah, I agree with that. The first one is more of a. I don't want to say it has a documentary feel because it doesn't, but it does feel more like an adaptation of events that actually transpired. Whereas the second one, some parts of it did, but the majority of Conjuring 2 obviously are just like complete fabrication. Like everything with the nun, it's like none of that shit ever happened. None of that had anything to do with the Enfield haunting. So it's like that's what I like about the first one is it has more of an adaptation of something that possibly could have happened where the second one didn't.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to add in that I liked is they added in the little thing about Annabelle.
Do you like that intro with her?
Well, no, I didn't necessarily like it. I'm more like I didn't sit there and be like, oh, I love watching this so much. I like how they added in that little hint to future movie. You know what I mean?
I don't even know if they were when it first came out. I think after the movie became a success, they said grab onto this idea and make a spin-off series, but I could be wrong.
When did the first Annabelle come out? Do we know?
First Annabelle was 2014.
That's the year after it came out, the first Conjuring. So I'm guessing it was probably already in the works.
It might have been. I don't know. Horror movies, the fun thing about horror movies is they don't always take that long to film because the thing that makes movies so long in post-production is usually CGI. And when you're making a movie that has either none or limited CGI, your post and production on the film can be done much faster.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I said, I could be wrong. I don't know. But I mean, say this one bombed, they probably would have just dropped the idea altogether of it. So who knows?
That's true.
Yeah. Now, casting thing real quick. I doubt either of you watched the show. It wouldn't shock me if neither of you didn't. Either of you watched Fuller House at all or no?
I did.
Did you recognize the cop?
Wait, Fuller House or Full House?
Fuller House, the new one.
But I watched Full House. It's like
okay. The cop is in Fuller House. He was DJ's boyfriend in a couple of seasons, I think.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, that takes the whole show. The whole show is taken now, Chad. That we found an actor who was in Fuller House.
We had to find a way to tie it to something else. We had to.
Yeah.
And I did it. And I was the one who found the connection to Harry Potter in the next movie when neither of you did. So
you're also the one who said last time that you're excited to watch me cry over this.
And it was hilarious reading those messages while I was watching the movie. I'm just sitting here and suddenly my phone, fuck. I'm like, oh boy, she's at a scary scene.
Real quick, can we talk about how the makeup of Bathsheba looks so good? The design was amazing. Like wow, I mean that's what I love about horror movies. The makeup is like so well done. Like, you can take like any action movie and like say, oh yeah, they had good like battle scars. But now horror movies take it to another level. The
practical effects are always better than CGI, in my opinion.
Yeah, the design of like Bathsheba's face looks so messed up and so like gangly and old and disgusting that when she possessed the mom and you could see like her spitting blood in the mouth, I was like, oh dude, that's unsettling as hell.
Yeah.
So let's jump to the end real quick. Let's talk about the actual exorcism that went down in the basement and finally drawing Bathsheba out of the mom. Like, Erica, did you think she was going to die, or did you think the mom was going to get out of it?
I honestly don't know. I thought perhaps the cop might have to kill the mom or something. I don't know. It was I like I said, I have barely watched horror movies. Like I watched them a few times when my brother would make me watch them because he'd tell me they weren't scary, and I'd spend the entire movie underneath my blanket on the couch screaming and hitting my brother. But I can't remember which movies they were, but my brother would do that. He would make me watch these movies. He's like, it's not scary at all. And I'm like, ah! And I was like 10 years old. I can't remember what movie it was, but like if I ask him, he'll probably remember. But the it was scary, and it was kind of like a nerve-wracking thing, and you know it. I liked though that it had a happy ending, and I yeah that's the part.
I thought it was cool that like that they had to incorporate they incorporated again the power of family was what helped overcome and draw Bathsheba out. It was them like yelling, remember that day at the beach, remember when you were all together, you were all happy, because it was like that the mom was still deep inside of her trying to force her way out and get Bathsheba out. And I thought that was so cool. Instead of just your traditional exorcism of saying the prayers, the holy water, just that doing it, it was the power of family was required to save the mom. I thought that was genuinely really cool and a cool way to incorporate more of like a heartfelt feeling into this, a happy ending of the movie.
Yeah, I agree. The family part is something I really like too.
I also love how like when she's covered with a sheet, like sometimes you see Bathsheba's face and other times you see the mom's face. You can really see it's like a struggle. Like they're really like struggling with what they're really fighting. And that scene where she floats up and like all the objects fly around her, and then it's like it's just chaos. Like that's amazing. It's really well done in how they incorporated that in the movie. So good.
Yeah.
Definitely. So let's wrap up the first one. Let's give some final thoughts. Santino?
Ultimately, Conjuring 1, to be honest, if I watched this in theaters, I would have preferred to watch Man of Steel again instead. So that, but I'm glad I did, because it's a really good movie about family. It has a lot of good scares. It's passionate. The way the makeup, the visual effects, the practical effects, the music, the set design, it's all really horror vibe, and I love that. And I'm not the biggest fan of horror movies, but I can say that like this is so well done. I really I love it, and I can't wait to talk about Conjuring 2 because that's my favorite of the franchise.
Yeah. For me, it was scary. I didn't enjoy myself watching it, which means it probably did a good job as a horror movie. It's true. It's true. Isn't that what they're supposed to do? They're supposed to make you feel scared and like
scare the shit out of you.
Exactly. So they did a good job. Yeah. Casting was good. Music was good. Yeah. I cried a little bit. So. And there's
score one for me.
At me for crying there. So yeah.
So for me overall, I think it's one of the better like paranormal horror films that's come out in a very long time. It was much needed in the time it came out, because this was around the time when we were just inundated with these shitty horror remakes that I was getting so sick of, because they were just bad remakes. And I like it because it was, I mean, obviously it was like, I know a lot of people who like them because they're like, oh, look, they're so exciting. People dying left and right. But it's like, I always enjoy a good slow burn like this was. I mean, it's like slow burn, nothing, something big, nothing, something big, nothing, building all the way up to the big climax. So it's like, to me, that's the sign of a good horror film doing its job right. And overall, I think Conjuring 1 did a great job. What was that look, Erica? You have something to add on to what I just said? Excuse me?
No, I want to say I like slow burns, but not when it takes 7 books for 2 people to admit that they're finally in love with each other.
Oh, God.
Hey, Harry Potter reference, part 1. Yeah, same, Erica. Same.
So, Conjuring 1, great start to the Conjuring universe. Loved it. Second movie that came out was Annabelle. We'll cover that next week. So let's move on to the far superior to the first Annabelle, Conjuring 2. So let's see. Santino, we'll start with you this time. Did you get to see this one in theaters or no?
This one, okay. Here's a funny story regards that. I attempted to see it in theaters. I was gonna watch it, and then I was gonna tell my driver, my driver, because we have drivers in the Philippines, so like everyone has one, to like drop me off, and then I'll have my money to buy Conjuring tickets for Conjuring 2. But the thing was, my mom dropped me off instead, and when she asked me, "What are you gonna watch? What movie are you gonna watch?" I couldn't say Conjuring 2, so I said, "Oh, I'm gonna watch Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass." And then
Oh, God.
and then she's like, "Okay, I'll stay here and wait until you buy your ticket." So I had no choice but to buy the ticket.
Genius.
So that's the second failed
Your mom
attempt.
can read you like a book, my friend.
Yeah, that's the second failed attempt to watch Conjuring in theaters. So
Maybe you'll actually get to see the third one in theater.
yeah, so maybe I actually want to get to see the third one there.
If your mommy
But
lets you. If your mommy lets you.
Ouch. But okay. I'm 19, so I'm probably gonna watch it in theaters. All right. So anyway, I watched Conjuring 2 like a few months after, and I loved it. I loved every single minute of it. It was so good. It was like the best, a far more superior sequel than the first one. I loved it because I loved how the family is more implied, and I love how it focuses more on the Warrens. The Warrens are like the stars of this movie, and it's just amazing. I love the nun. The design of her is amazing.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. It's like a mockery to Jesus. Not that I like a mockery to Jesus. It's just fact that the design is
It was
amazing.
the design that was amazing.
Yeah, I love the scares. There's some scares that I noticed only like second, third viewing. Like, oh my god, I can't believe that was in it. And I'll talk about that in the review. I liked the girl Janet. She did a really good job at being possessed when she needed to be, and also being scared when she needed to be. So that was kick ass. Bill Wilkins was good. He was really good as like the guy, as this tortured poor soul who wouldn't be let go because the demon nun is keeping him at bay. So that was really awesome. The scares that were amazing. The crooked man was like the standout of that entire entire movie, and the nun, of course. So yeah, those were my first impressions.
Um, eh, this one was more entertaining, and I was in a better mindset before watching it. I had slept a little bit, so that's good. Um, and it was honestly, I found myself more entertained and less like, oh my god, what the fuck's gonna happen? It was more like, oh, that's interesting. What's gonna happen with that? Which I think is a better for me. I think it also probably had to do with my mindset for watching the first one. I was just so scared of watching scary movies. So I never watched scary movies. But
And no offense, we did start you off with a pretty hardcore one. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we probably should have eased you into horror a little more than just throwing one at you that did freak out so many people.
But that's because Chad wanted to see me cry.
You also could have taken it upon yourself to ask me what some other ones were, but you didn't. So that's your own problem.
Yeah, it's all my fault. Chad didn't do anything.
I know.
Everything, just so you guys know, everything is always Chad's fault.
Always. That's the rules.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. It's my fault.
As a
Everything.
host on Eternal Midnight, everything is Chad's fault. Okay.
Well, even when I'm not the host, it's my fault.
I'm just kidding. Chad's the best. We wouldn't be able to do this without him. But yeah, back to Conjuring 2. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Casting was good. The part that I didn't like was the bad British accents from the kids. Now, as a child actors, there's different skills, different levels of things that they can do. But why the fuck didn't they just hire British actors? Because when you're a kid, faking a British accent is much harder than when you're an adult and you can actually study doing a British accent. And the kids' British accents were painful for me to listen to. As someone who is a quarter British and my grandparents are from England, I mean I'm in the Harry Potter fandom. I think I'm an honorary Brit at this point. I also write Harry Potter fan fiction, so I know the terminologies and stuff like that. I'm starting to use it, but the fake, like I said, it didn't ruin the movie, but the fake British accents just made it a little bit more difficult to listen to at points. But the actors did really good. Madison Wolfe, who played Janet, which was the daughter who got possessed, she was amazing, like incredible. Like playing a role like that has got to be really tricky, and she did a freaking incredible job. And like for a young actress like that, I don't know how old she was, but I'm guessing she was probably somewhere in her like mid-teens. She did incredible. And another actor that I liked was the little boy Billy, the youngest boy who had the stutter. He was, first of all, he's adorable. His name is Benjamin High. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. But he was good. He was like, kid actors in horror films are always like they have to do a good job, otherwise you can't take it seriously. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and
I still wish the crooked man had killed him in the hallway, though. That would have just added so much.
What is wrong with you? Oh my god, what the fuck? You don't say that, Chad.
Because it would have added, and it would have been
You don't kill the little boy.
It would have made me laugh harder than what happens at the beginning of Annabelle Creation.
Oh, you are a heartless human being. Anyways, back to it. I really okay. So other scenes that I liked, like I said, acting was good. We can go more into detail, but one of my we'll go more into detail after. But Chad, why don't you give your initial thoughts?
So again, saw this one in theaters, and surprisingly, this one, the first time I saw it, I did not like it because nothing in it scared me at all. Again, seeing it in a dark theater, nothing freaked me out. And I was just like, that wasn't scary because, again, I went into it with the mindset of I want to be scared. And I wasn't paying attention to all the stuff that now I really love about it after recent viewings that really changed my mind on it and brought me around to liking it better than the original because it does entertain me more. And while the scares aren't there, I think this one has a lot more depth to it when it comes. Like the first one did have the stuff about family in it. It was very obvious. They were right up front with it, and it all worked. But this one, I think, did the exact same when it came to the family aspect, and I think they nailed it even harder this time. Yeah. This time with both the British family and Ed and Lorraine, again, building on their marriage and their relationship even further. And it's like, that's why I'm so excited for Conjuring 3, because it's like, I love the characters of Ed and Lorraine so much. And I love watching what they're going through and the chemistry that those two have with each other. And like I said, upon more viewings of this one, I've really loved this one even more, even though it doesn't scare me. It's like I said when we were reviewing the first Conjuring, this one feels more of a story that they're telling of a haunting as opposed to the first one, which was just following the events of a haunting, where this one, like I said, if you want to believe the first one happened, go for it. This one, obviously not. Obviously not. The nun possessing the ghost, light striking the tree down, predicting that Ed's going to fall on it. To me, all that is like, that was just all fabrication that they added on to build to the events of the Enfield haunting, poltergeist, whatever it was. I haven't really looked into it too much. But yeah, I find this one to be more entertaining than the first one. And I just have more fun rewatching this one. I really do. I agree with most of the stuff you guys said. Janet was really a standout. That girl did such an amazing job, I thought. One of my favorite scenes with her was when Lorraine first met her and they were sitting in the backyard on the swings and just talking. I mean, that girl, she sold it so emotionally
Yes.
in that scene where she's just like, no one wants to be around me. I'm always scared. And it's like, geez, for a kid to give a performance like that, that says something.
Heartbreak.
I also love that scene where Ed plays the guitar in front of the family.
Mm-hmm.
It's a heartwarming scene. Like you can tell this movie has heartfelt moments where you can tell, yeah, it's a horror movie, but there's also like scenes that have this in it, where Ed's just like comforting these kids and being like, well, we can be a comforting shoulder for them to cry on.
I like those random moments of bravery and sweetness, like with Johnny towards the end. Johnny is the older son. He said we can't let it bully us, and I liked that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one part that freaked me out was when Ed was talking to Bill Wilkins, his spirit, when he was possessing Janet. Oh, that was freaky as fuck. And like, the angle that they filmed it in was really cool. In that, like, they had Ed looking away from Janet, and they had Janet sitting in Bill Wilkins' chair, and then you had a clear shot of Ed, and then in the background you had blurry Janet, and I think her appearance changed into Bill's throughout the conversation. The way they shot that was incredible. That was so well done. That whole scene was, I would say, one of the best filmed scenes for me. Yeah.
There's also a scene that I'm not sure if you guys noticed it, and if you didn't, here it is, and maybe you can like see it when you rewatch it. There's a scene where Janet goes down to get the water, and she goes back upstairs. And if you look in the corner, Bill Wilkins is there in the chair. There's no scary scene. It's just like a cool little detail that you can see off screen, and that when you rewatch it, it's just like a thing, or it's unsettling. Like there's no scary scene. It's just an unsettling detail that makes you get goosebumps more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's amazing. That's why I like this movie way more than Conjuring 1, because those scenes are like what Erica mentioned about the Janet morphing into Bill's silhouette while Ed's like doing this with the crucifix. That was insane, amazing camera work. And that scene where I mentioned where she's just there's no horror. She just goes down to get water. She goes back up, and if you look in the corner, there's Bill there watching TV. I love that.
Yeah.
I also love that scene where she's watching where she's in the chair watching TV, and then like she gets the phone call, and then like the remote drops from the TV. Like it's like it starts switching channels, and then you go there, she looks back, back, and then jump scare. Like, my house.
Freaky.
Yeah.
So freaky.
I think one of my favorite things about this movie, kind of building on that, is I did like how the movie did play around a little bit with the whole thing being a hoax. I did think that was really cool, like how they captured Janet herself destroying the kitchen when they saw the picture of her supposedly levitating, and the experts were like, well, look at her. If you look at the way her knees are bent, she clearly just jumped. Or all that stuff happening when like only Janet was there to see it. Because obviously that is exactly how the professionals handled this case when it actually was happening. They were, because that's how you got to have it. You need to have the believers, but you also have to have the non-believers so they can challenge each other's beliefs to figure out, is this real or is this fake? Because you can't go in completely biased. So I thought that was really interesting that they did bring that real life, is it real, is it fake aspect into it, as opposed to the first one where it was just, we're here, we see it, it's happening, it's real.
Yeah.
I thought that was a real interesting aspect that they brought in, and I almost hope they build on it a little more in the next one, because I feel like they did kind of jump the shark a little bit at the end, where it was like all this proof that it's fake, and then suddenly, oh my God, the demon was actually making her do it to push everyone away, so the demon can now really come out and cause the havoc. But there were some scenes where it was almost like, how could they argue that it was fake? Like when they found her in like that electric box room or something behind the pipes when she was possessed. Like they said right when they opened that door, they're like, how the hell did she get in there?
Yeah, that was so freaky. That whole like that whole beginning to the climactic part with the kitchen and the knives and that was so scary. And the other scene that freaked me out the most was when Janet ended up on the ceiling and then all the crosses went over and it was just like that whole scene was just like I was couldn't breathe. It was like it left me on the edge of my seat. I was like, what the fuck is happening? I freaked me out so much. Yeah, that was scary. And that was also I think that scene happened once Ed and Lorraine were already there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
When
And
she
then
was in the room when she was like locked in, and they're like, how the hell did she get in there?
I think so, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
they were trying to bust the door down, and the mom had to go get the key.
right.
And she was like being strangled by the drapes.
Yes. And the part of that scene that was like I was sweet in the end was Ed kind of brought the whole family together and like comforted them and like we'll get you through this. It's like a that was another play on the family thing of like, you know, I feel like this Conjuring 2 had more family closeness and feelies than feelies. Why did I say feelies? Had more family feelings than Conjuring 1. And I liked that part of it, and you know, yeah.
That's why when people ask me what's the best family movie, I say, oh, Conjuring 2, no doubt. Conjuring 2, guys. Like, it is the best family movie out there. I'm like, I'm way more family. It conveys better family themes than the freaking Fast and Furious franchise.
It's Christmas
Right?
Eve, kids. Let's sit down and watch Conjuring 2.
No, you know what I mean though. It's like the Shazam on even though I barely
Yeah,
see Conjuring.
Shazam.
But it's the equivalent of like Shazam in DC. You know what I mean? I mean, I that's what I'm guessing. I haven't seen the other ones of this yet, but the whole flooded basement thing was freaky, and when you know the everything was good. I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, when I say really, that's the wrong word. When I say really enjoyed, I mean like I didn't hate watching it as much as I hated watching the first one. I don't. That's the wrong. Like, when I say hated watching it, I mean like I don't particularly go and choose to watch horror movies, but this one wasn't as horrifying and disturbing as the first one was, if that makes sense.
See, and that's why you always got to dive into new genres so you can find that stuff that you never thought you would have liked.
Yeah, I guess.
So, real quick, what did you think of The Nun, Valak?
Oh, I forgot to mention The Nun. That freaked me the fuck out. Oh my god.
When?
Oh!
And in England or in the Warrens' house? Because that's when she freaked me out. That painting.
Yeah.
Who would keep the painting like that in their house?
Well,
No, who draws the painting?
Who would hang it up?
Yeah.
that whole introduction scene though, when they're
Yeah.
at the house and Lorraine goes down to the basement or something and it's the mirror and she's looking at the mirror and the nun keeps coming closer to her in the mirror, but she's not
in the
behind her.
Amityville stuff at the beginning.
Yes, that was so freaky. I am so nervous for the nun. I don't. I'm scared. I am scared. And I don't know why you're laughing, but maybe I'll understand it
You'll
after
see
when
me.
we see the nun. But it was the nun. The makeup on the nun was really good, and the glowing eyes, and it freaked me the fuck out. And it broke my heart to see Lorraine like that too. You know, she seemed so brave, and this one she kind of seemed a little broken. So.
Well, yeah, because a demonic entity openly threatened her husband's life.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, yeah, I'd be terrified too, because it's like, how are we going to stop an actual demon who's threatening us?
I wasn't saying there was anything wrong with her.
I'm agreeing. I'm saying, yeah, I can feel the frustration and the absolute fear she was overcome with.
Yeah.
Real quick, after watching The Nun again last night. Yeah, I think Erica, you'll find this the scariest out of all of them. Because really, The Nun is like, wow, I can't believe how well that was after. I swear to God, it is like it is as crazy as I remember. So
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm starting to cry just listening to you guys warning me about this.
Also, to add what you said, I love Chad how they recreated Amityville from a different perspective. That was insane. And then like
That was
when
cool.
when she removed the mirror, the nun was there. Like that's crazy. But what got me was the nun when she appeared in the British house was not scary anymore. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it, the nun's there, but like the nun, what got me was the painting where where she goes inside the house, the room, and the painting's in the background. Like, oh my god, she's there, and then like, okay, it's a painting.
You see the shadow walking along the wall, and then the fingers come out from behind it, and it just rushes forward.
And then the painting, when she looks at when the lights on, it's just a painting, but when the lights go off, the painting's eyes start glowing.
And then what was that song, Santino?
Ark the Herald. That was good.
The way they played it, it was like that 60s version of it that they were playing, where it was like that loud choir. It was just so freaky because it's like you have dead silence, and bam, it just starts playing, and it just like it startles you.
Yeah, dude, the Hark of the Herald was way creepier than the music box in the first one.
I like the music box better. But okay, so obviously The Nun was put in this movie, I feel, as I think this was when Warner Brothers was like, we figured out we can make these for cheap and they're going to make money. James Wan, please, we took a chance with Annabelle. It wasn't as well received as Conjuring at all, but it still made money. So they were like, help us build a franchise, a world, a shared universe where we can make spin-offs. I think that's why The Nun was in this. And I'm genuinely excited because if the rumors are true, and I'm hoping they are, I don't know why, but it's like I want a Crooked Man movie. That scene is one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie. I don't know why, but it was like Janet played it so perfectly when she came around that corner and she was sang whatever, that Crooked Man tune, and it was so eerie the way she said it. And it was like, so it's like I'm hoping we do get a Crooked Man movie. I heard there were rumors we were getting one, so maybe we will. I don't think we will, but maybe we will. I don't see how they could build a whole movie around it, but you know what? That's why I don't work in Hollywood. I'm not creative enough to come up with that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I will bring up, and this is partly just to bug Chad, is Chad just before we started recording, Chad got mad at me and Santino for not recognizing a Harry Potter actor.
That's right.
And let's
explain
why we didn't recognize this actor. Why don't you tell them, Chad?
Morris Gross played Creature in Deathly Hallows Part 1.
He voiced Creature.
Voiced, whatever. There was nothing there, so there was nothing to play.
Wasn't actually Creature a little house elf with a creepy voice?
Yes, because a tall, balding British man could play a tiny little house elf.
No, but how are we supposed to know what this dude looks like?
Because it's your job to look it up, and I broke it down perfectly beforehand.
It's my job. I'm a book fan before a movie fan. So
yeah,
Harry Potter books is where I know all the information.
Pouring out right now.
Yeah, well, he got mad at us for what do you think? We're not true Potterheads for not knowing this?
I did not say that phrase at all, and you know it. Do not put words in my mouth. I never said you are not a true Potterhead.
I feel like this month is going to be a lot of me and Chad bantering at each other about
Probably. Until Annabelle comes home, and then I think we're all going to agree how much we enjoyed that one. I think I'm going to make it. So we wrapped it up. It seems we all enjoyed Conjuring 2. So I'm just going to jump to predictions for next week real quick. Erica, I think you're going to find the first Annabelle boring except for a few scenes. I think Creation is going to terrify you, and I think you're going to like Annabelle Comes Home.
We'll see.
I would agree with that prediction because that's how I viewed it the first time I watched it. But real quick, Chad. Who did Morris Gross play in Conjuring 2? He played Bill Wilkins?
No, he was the British paranormal investigator who believed that Janet was possessed.
Oh, okay.
He was also the only British actor they hired.
He had the glasses, the curly hair.
All right.
I just, with the regards to that, the kids' British accents were not good. And if you're British and you're listening to this, you will agree with me and you'll understand why.
Will they?
Yes.
Just the entire continent? They'll just all agree with you, hands down?
Oh my god.
No, I meant like I know for sure. I know British people. If I show this to my dad, he was raised by two British parents, and he will listen to those accents and he'll be like, "Those are horrible British accents." Okay. Anyways,
Oh, this is gonna be a fun month. I can't wait, guys.
Oh, so closing thoughts, Santino, on The Conjuring 1 and 2.
Conjuring 1 and 2, they're both great. They're in the entire franchise, they're the best out of all of them, in my opinion. I know you disagree with me in chat because I know you think Creation's the best. We'll get into that next week. But Conjuring 2, Conjuring 1, they're the top two, and they have the most passion, the best makeup, the best sound design, the best scares, and the best acting. So yeah.
The only reason I think Creation is the best is honestly because I think it's the most fucked up.
Oh yeah.
The way it treats its characters, I think, is far more brutal than anything that happened in Conjuring and Conjuring 2.
If we're going by brutal, then yeah, Creation's the most brutal.
Creation is just, it's fun, but it's also like the most mean-spirited, I think, of all of them in the brutal ways it treats its characters. So we'll dive into Creation next week. But yes, Creation is my favorite of the entire Conjuring franchise.
I'm gonna rewatch it now. I wanna rewatch it before.
I think if it's been a while since you watched it, I think you might start falling into my camp and agree, but we'll see. So
I have a funny story regarding Creation, but I'm not gonna say it.
We'll save that for next week.
Yeah, for next week.
So Erica, thoughts on Conjuring 1 and 2?
I'm sorry. I was just hiding behind one of my Harry Potter books while they were talking about how scary Annabelle Creation is and how terrified I fucking am. But Harry Potter makes me feel good, and you were talking about scary stuff, and I just happened to have a book next to me. So, anyways, Conjuring 1 and 2 were scary. They were, like I said, I like Conjuring 2 better, and I think I know what mindset I have to be in order to watch these movies from now on. And this is going to be an interesting one. Chad's gonna be an asshole for this one to me.
I have to. That's my job.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true.
I have to. If we all sat around and agreed, these shows would be boring as hell.
That is true. That is true. Yep. Okay. I like Conjuring. I am nervous, very nervous for Annabelle.
The first one?
I'm nervous for all the Annabelles. Any possessed dolls do not work for
anyone can tell you. Comes Home is not scary.
Dolls make me think of my grandmother. I don't want to think about a possessed doll when I think about my grandmother.
She sees that big smile on Annabelle's face.
I can't wait. I can't wait for next week, honestly. I
can't either because, yeah, Comes Home and Creation are just, I think they're both just an absolute blast. I love them both for different reasons. So, my final thoughts, yeah, Conjuring 1, I think is pretty scary. Conjuring 2, don't think it's scary. I just think it's entertaining and really well done. I think these really were a great start to this franchise. I'm excited for the third one, which I'm still hoping comes out this year. We'll see. It might get pushed out. I'm not sure. So, everybody, thanks for tuning in. What do you think? Did these movies freak you out? Did you enjoy them? Did you hate them? Did you find them stupid? What was your thoughts? Let us know down below. We'll engage in conversation with you, all right? So this is Chad, and I'm out for the night.
Bye, everyone. Hope you have a good night.
Bye, everyone. Hope you have a good night.